to the point where it's almost impossible for people to see me doing something else. You're no longer allowed to act because you did that one so well that we can't see you as something else.
Did they have some issue back in the day? And does he need a career revamp?
Alfonso Ribeiro just dropped the curtain on why he stayed far away from Tyler Perry. And the story is wild. For over 15 years, fans were confused. Why didn't Alfonso, one of the most iconic faces from The Fresh Prince, ever link up with Tyler Perry? No cameo, no collab, not even a guest appearance. He was talented, well-known, and available, but nothing. Not a single role. Now things are clicking into place, and the silence is looking real loud.
Now, actor and filmmaker Tyler Perry sued for $260 million over an allegation.
See, Alfonso never straight up named Tyler Perry, but when you match up his past shady posts with what other actors are saying today, the puzzle pieces fit too well.
He showed up to my apartment and offered me $100 grand to take my clothes off. He said, I don't even need to touch you, I just want to see you.
Silence ain't always about protecting someone. Sometimes it means somebody made sure you couldn't speak. And what Alfonso hinted at before? Yeah, it's hitting different now. Let's rewind. Before the reruns, memes, and internet nostalgia, Alfonso Ribeiro was everywhere. As Carlton Banks, he helped turn Fresh Prince into a cultural juggernaut. That goofy dance, the preppy attitude, he had America cracking up. But when the show wrapped in '96, his momentum crashed hard. Hollywood didn't want to see Alfonso as anything other than Carlton.
Now, actor and filmmaker Tyler Perry sued for $260 million over allegations. The complaint filed in Los Angeles accuses Perry of creating a, quote, coercive, exploitative dynamic with actor Derek Dixon.
They boxed him in as the rich, goofy sidekick. Not a real actor, not a leading man. And that kind of typecasting? It's career killing. He was still in his 20s and already Hollywood had thrown him in the has-been bin. Brutal. Now imagine trying to bounce back in the early 2000s when the industry was shifting, but not always for the better. Big studios wanted shiny new faces. Legacy stars weren't getting love. Behind the scenes, folks were whispering about gatekeepers, people with power deciding who made it and who didn't. That's when Tyler Perry enters the picture. Word is, Alfonso tried to tap into Perry's growing empire. At that time, Tyler was blowing up, building studios, dropping hit shows, and dominating black entertainment. For someone like Alfonso, who was getting iced out by Hollywood, Perry looked like a shot at redemption. But that collab never happened, and nobody could figure out why. Alfonso didn't drag Perry, but he did start posting cryptic stuff. After actor Christian Keyes leaked messages suggesting Perry's team was mixing roles with inappropriate advances, Alfonso's old posts started looking real suspicious. Like the one where he wrote, "Sometimes the audition is just a setup. Be careful who's really watching." Or another that said, "I didn't come this far to sell my dignity." Those weren't just random quotes. They were warnings. And once Christian's story dropped, folks started wondering if Alfonso had been through the same mess and just walked away instead of playing that game. Tyler Perry fans say he's being targeted unfairly, that people are just mad they didn't get a part. But when more and more actors, especially younger black men, start sharing similar stories, it don't sound like bitterness, it sounds like a pattern. If even a piece of this culture was real inside Perry's studio walls, that changes everything. And for Alfonso, who built his whole name on being clean, professional, and family-friendly, he wasn't about to trade his reputation for a role. Period. That might explain why we never saw him pop up in a Perry project. No drama, no sitcom, no cameo.
That he showed up to my apartment and offered me $100 grand to take my clothes off. He said, I don't even need to touch you, I just want to see you.
While other folks were getting chances, the man who played Carlton got ghosted. Maybe not landing the job wasn't a loss, maybe it was survival. And now, the smoke is turning into fire.
These events occurred while Mr. Dixon was employed as a series regular on the Tyler Perry show, The Oval, while Mr. Perry held direct control over his employment, compensation, and creative opportunity.
On June 15th, 2025, actor Derek Dixon filed a massive lawsuit in LA Superior Court, calling out Tyler Perry for multiple acts of misconduct. The suit demands $260 million in damages and outlines a disturbing pattern that reportedly started in 2019 and spiraled all the way into 2024. This isn't just some messy rumor, it's official.
He claims that while he was asleep, Perry climbed into bed with him and tried to initiate. Dixon says he tried to distance himself from Perry, but he was offered a role on Perry's show, The Oval.
It's legal, and it's explosive. According to the lawsuit, Dixon first met Perry at an industry event in 2019. He didn't have big credits yet. He was a fresh face. Perry allegedly approached him directly, asked for his number, and said he saw potential. He later cast Dixon in Ruthless, but Dixon says things quickly went from professional to personal, and not in a good way. Court docs describe Perry as turning a mentorship into something darker, something one-sided and coercive.
What he says that Perry told him. Dixon said that Perry told him, quote, that he liked being choked. That was after Dixon's character was choked by a cast member in a scene on The Oval. Perry also allegedly said, "Why do you twist your hips when you walk? How can I get a day of Dixon?"
It gets worse. After wrapping up Ruthless, Perry reportedly invited Dixon to his Atlanta home. That night, Dixon says he drank too much and asked if he could crash in a guest room. What happened next is what shook people. The lawsuit says Perry followed him into that room and started touching his thighs. Dixon says he rejected the move, but the boundary had already been crossed. And the pressure? It didn't stop. That's when the vibe allegedly shifted. Dixon believes that moment set the tone for all their future encounters. He eventually got cast in another Perry show, The Oval, but says things only escalated from there. This case has already shaken the industry.
Dixon is suing Tyler Perry, the individual, as well as his production studio. That studio is called TPS Production Services, LLC. That stands for Tyler Perry Studios in Action, LLC. And he is looking for $260 million.
In a post-Me Too world, with names like Weinstein and Spacey getting exposed, this one hits even harder, because Tyler Perry is seen as untouchable, a black mogul who made it on his own. But if this lawsuit is accurate, the power behind his empire came with a dark side. And for Alfonso, it's clear now. He saw the game early, he didn't play it, and maybe, just maybe, that's what saved him. Derek Dixon landed the role of Dale on Perry's show. But what happened behind the scenes? That's where things took a dark turn. According to the lawsuit, after filming began, Tyler Perry started blowing up Dixon's phone with flirty calls and suggestive texts. The messages weren't just casual. Dixon says Perry straight up asked about his preferences and personal fantasies. And the screenshots. They made their rounds fast across social media, landing on major outlets like Reuters, TMZ, and the Associated Press. Now let's keep it real. Texts can be faked or taken out of context. But Reuters confirmed some of these messages were actually submitted as part of the court filings. One of them allegedly read, "What's it going to take for you to have guiltless SX?" If that line's legit, it directly backs Dixon's claims of pressure and coercion. The Associated Press reported another message where Perry allegedly said, "No straight man would be going on walks with you or cooking dinner for you unless they wanted to FK you." And another one, "I would FK you." There was also this one that shook people. "I'd hope you'd let someone hold you and make love to you. You're missing the best years of your life, my friend." TMZ dropped more screenshots from X, including one where Perry reportedly said, "I feel so good, but I don't like being horny. I feel sorry for the first person that flirts with me." None of these messages have been verified independently, but the picture they paint, it's not a good one. They seem to match exactly what Dixon described, how what started as mentorship slowly shifted into manipulation, with the lines between work and personal life getting messier and more disturbing. Online reactions have been explosive. Some people are calling the texts proof. Others say they need more receipts. But back in court, the legal team's not playing around. According to court docs, in March 2020, things got physical. Perry allegedly choked Dixon during a private altercation. Just months later, on the set of The Oval, another serious accusation surfaced. Perry is said to have walked into a trailer and groped Dixon. But what really sent shockwaves was what Dixon says happened in June 2021. Once again, he was invited to Perry's Atlanta home, staying in the guest house. Dressed only in his underwear, Dixon claims Perry came in to say goodnight, then hugged him, pulled down his underwear, grabbed his backside, and told him to just relax. Dixon says he tried to de-escalate things by switching the conversation, but by then, the damage was already done. He felt cornered, trapped. According to the complaint, Perry told him straight up, "If you ignore me, your character dies." That wasn't just a threat, it was a warning. The lawsuit claims Perry dangled career opportunities like bait. One example? A show Dixon wrote called Losing It. He says Perry promised to help fund the pilot, but only if he stayed loyal. In other words, stay close, or stay out. Dixon now says it was all a setup, that Perry never cared about the project, he just wanted control. The suit puts it bluntly. Mr. Perry sought the one thing his wealth and influence could not purchase, a sexual relationship with a man who would stay silent. Eventually, Dixon had enough. He filed an official complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission in June 2024. He says Perry's behavior left him with PTSD. He couldn't take it anymore. He left the Oval, saying the mental toll had wrecked him. But this lawsuit doesn't stop with Perry alone. Dixon also named Tyler Perry Studios and TPS Production Services as co-defendants, accusing them of hiring negligence, poor supervision, and failing to protect employees. While Perry's the only one called out for the alleged abuse, the companies behind him are now caught in the legal crossfire. And this next part, it hits hard. In one of the most cutting lines from the complaint, Dixon compares Perry to some of the most infamous names in entertainment history. Just like Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Sean Diddy Combs, Kevin Spacey, Roger Ailes, and many others, Mr. Perry's success has led him to believe that money and influence can get him whatever he wants. Whew. That line alone could shake Hollywood to its core. Tyler Perry's legal team isn't sitting quietly. His attorney, Matthew Boyd, clapped back with a bold statement. This is an individual who got close to Tyler Perry just to set up a scam. But Tyler won't be shaken down, and we're confident these lies will fall apart. But here's the thing, the case is now public, and unless it gets thrown out or quietly settled behind closed doors, Perry's going to have to face the most damaging accusations of his entire career in court. Meanwhile, let's talk about Alfonso Ribeiro. It's been over a decade since he dipped out of scripted TV. Fans thought he was just done with acting, maybe focused on family life, hosting gigs, or trying to dodge being typecast again. But that polished smile, those game shows, that wasn't the full story. Behind the scenes, something deeper was going on. Because in Hollywood, silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes it means survival. Alfonso isn't new to this fame game. After Fresh Prince, he was stuck with a character that made America laugh but made Hollywood ignore him. Carlton made him a household name, and at the same time, made him invisible to the folks who called the shots. So, when he tried to step back into acting during the 2000s, he realized quick, talent alone wasn't enough. One of his close friends hinted that Alfonso saw too much of what really happened behind studio doors, and chose to walk away from it all. No public drama, no messy expose, just silence. But the real question is why that silence lasted so long. Truth is, back then, calling out Tyler Perry could have meant career suicide, especially for someone already struggling to re-establish himself. Perry wasn't just a producer by the 2010s, he was a brand. Billionaire status, Oprah's stamp of approval, backing from BET, and every major network. He was seen as untouchable. And let's keep it real. Black actors rarely get to speak freely without risking everything. Talking against a major black mogul? That could get you labeled bitter, jealous, difficult, or even blackballed for life. That fear is real. That's why Alfonso kept it cryptic. Tweets with double meanings, quietly unfollowing folks, refusing certain collaborations. The signs were there, but coded. And for years, no one picked up on it. But now, after Christian Keys leaked those receipts, after Derek Dixon's $260 million lawsuit came with jaw-dropping claims of harassment and coercion, suddenly, Alfonso's silence ain't looking like distance. It looks like protection. Looking back, his decision to steer clear of Perry's empire feels less like a missed gig and more like a quiet rebellion. He didn't blast anyone. He didn't name names, but that distance? That's speaking loud right now. 15 years later, his silence is finally being heard. And folks are starting to ask, how many others stepped away too? How many never felt safe enough to say why? When actors like Alfonso speak in code, the industry listens in whispers. But when actors like Christian Keys speak out loud, the whole game changes. It happened in 2021 when Keys went public about what really goes down behind the casting scenes at Perry's studio. He didn't hold back. And the fallout? Immediate. Keys leaked texts and open talk about coercion lined up way too well with Alfonso's old posts. Suddenly, tweets that once looked vague about being punished, turned away, or boxed out started looking like warnings. Here's what's even wilder. Alfonso and Christian were both trying to bounce back into acting in the mid-2000s. Both black men, both trying to get in the door at a studio that claimed to uplift their community, and both walked away. Then comes Derek Dixon's explosive lawsuit, adding fuel to what's now looking like a full-blown pattern. This ain't about one creepy message. It's not about one wild night. It's about the culture, the low-key pressure, the flirty jokes that weren't jokes, the offers that felt more like ultimatums. It's about how some opportunities came with strings, and how refusing to play along meant getting cut off. Alfonso Ribeiro never did a single Tyler Perry show. No special guest spot, no cameo, nothing. In an empire that claimed to celebrate black stars, his absence says a lot. Now, when you compare that to Christian Keys' straight-up rejection, or the disturbing details in Dixon's lawsuit, a new picture starts to form. One where Alfonso's silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. And maybe now, after watching the dam finally break, he's decided it's time to speak. Not on a stage, not with a press release, but in the clearest way possible, by letting the truth catch up on its own. He didn't need to write a tell-all. He didn't blast anyone on live TV. Instead, Alfonso Ribeiro let the world connect the dots he's been quietly laying out for years. What folks once called bitterness, it now looks like boundaries. That distance he kept, it was protection. And all that silence, that wasn't weakness. It was straight-up survival in an industry where speaking too soon can end your whole career. Alfonso didn't chase clout or viral headlines. He never dropped names or cried for sympathy. But maybe he never had to. In a world where loud voices often get ignored, Alfonso's silence became its own message. Loud, powerful, and unshakable. While others were fighting to be seen, he walked away from it all. The deals, the fame, the roles people would have sold their soul for. And why? Because of what he probably saw behind closed doors. He wasn't messy, he wasn't reckless, but every move he made, the shows he skipped, the doors he didn't walk through, the cryptic things he did say, all painted a quiet picture of truth. A man who chose self-respect over shady deals. Now that lawsuits are hitting headlines and more actors are speaking out, Alfonso's past choices hit different. This wasn't a missed opportunity. It was a warning we all ignored. Because when the truth finally comes to the surface, the ones who walked away quietly, they were the ones sounding the alarm all along. Make sure to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. We've got more coming, and you don't want to miss what's next. See you on the next one.